See, I'm starting to think now that Mary, and I wish I didn't leak the first part, but Mary, we go on to Mary and her son, Mary and her son weren't actually related. Get what I'm saying? They weren't related. And for some reason, Romeo and Juliet keeps popping up. It's like Romeo and Juliet, but there's two sides to the story. Two sides to the story. So yes, in the Bible we might see, that, it was Jesus who got on the cross and that was Mary, his mother. But what if she was on the same cross right behind him, like Romeo and Juliet? And again, I gotta go back to some of these old school movies, like Their Eyes Are Watching God. That is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. But then when Janie had met, she had three loves. She had an older man, which she first got, for the land and everything. Her grandma hooked up with him for the land. He had 60 acres, and all of that would have been hers once he passed away. And then you had the second one, who was all business minded, business. I'm gonna show you the world, girl. Get what I'm saying? Ended up being an old grump, but then she met TK, one who always wanted to fight go against the grain to be a free spirit, go against the brain. But he did. You would have did anything to make sure she was taken care of. That's three. So what if like the son was tea cake and Mary was his mother, but like a spiritual mother, right? A spiritual mother, like a mother in another realm, but physically in this world, no. But back in the day, within like the age difference and they might have been frowned upon. It might have been frowned upon. Well, what are you doing with such a young son? Get what I'm saying? Especially for the women who couldn't, get men that age or couldn't pull them like that. They couldn't pull them big fishes no more. No. They had to settle for what they had. Or stay in the house, or they were already married. But Janie was a widow by the time she got her second husband. So she had a business and everything. She had time to go off, do whatever she wanted to, be free as a bird, and that she was. So who's to say Mary wasn't the same way? Because how can she be the Virgin Mary, yet still have a son? Vice versa. How could she be the Virgin Mary and still have a son? It might have not been her real son. Get what I'm saying? Her son, that could have been the man that made her shine, that made her day. Get what I'm saying? So if that man made her shine and made her day and opened up bridges for her to venture out and do more, it's just like the sun with his rays. Get what I'm saying? You got all kind of avenues of approach. He was creating a circle for her, a family for her. Like she went from the more conservative type to the, what do you call it now? Kind of like the free-spirited type, like a fairy. What do you call it? She went into like her hippie era with him. He showed it. Yeah, I mean, money is not the most important thing to have, but it's the experience behind making the money, the stories that you gain behind making the money. Get what I'm saying? Or the sacrifices that you have behind making the money. What lesson is it teaching you? What lesson is it teaching? Give me 1 second. So they said Jesus died on the cross for your sins. What exactly was the sin? Was it that he came in encounter with a widowed woman? Are widowed women, or were widowed women back then allowed to remarry again or be with someone again? And if it was, you know, I kind of get offended like nowadays, people like you have dudes, they be like, well, hey, ma, what's up? All right. And we get it on an eye. But with that, when they call you ma, it's kind of like, I feel like more of a wise woman, get what I'm saying? One who sees things before they happen through their experience. So most of them are women of older mind or someone or a man or man with the a old spirit or soul. But then I wanted to read down from my book Journey with Me by Sasha Tucker for now down. I was knocked down from heaven, lost ones 11, went down to hell to kiss and not tell, allowed my words to flow, spells, dance with the devil, but my soul I did not sell. I was inquisitive beyond measure, my soul found its treasure, that even the depths of hell too can bring me pleasure. This too I should tell. But this is not my home, is not where I belong. I hear my tribe singing my songs, yet I can only leave at my leisure. So who's to say, like, he wasn't like a pauper back in the day, and you had, Mary's husband, who was like a working man, and he just happened to be a helping hand back then. Because a lot of things now these days, I think a lot of the stories became exaggerated. When I say it, I believe all the stories became exaggerated. And maybe, you know, uh, when Jesus walked this walk and he had his disciples and everything, it was one, it was that who these things starting to come in together because Charlotte could have been Mary, or this could all be one person in the same with different so back to Mary though, she could have been a free spirited too. It's plenty of ways you could have see that because her alter ego could have been like boyish childlike play, get what I'm saying? She might have had the body of a woman and everything, but she was definitely a free spirit, one who like flew with the wind, or one who could speak deeply to people in a sense. It could have been that, but I'm thinking that Mary could actually been, maybe she was actually a woman like Mulan. Get what I'm saying? Maybe she was actually a woman who pretended to be a man, something like, um, well, not pretended to be a man, but who had man-like qualities, very masculine energy. But Mary, and that probably been frowned upon back in the day. Her having her alter ego, saying that she was growing. Get what I'm saying? Because in preaching God's will, which is, you know, the choices you make are your choices. The choices you make are your choices. And they don't give you grace to make your choice. But you have to, you know, suffer the consequences or deal with the consequences that's afterwards. But yeah, Mary was pretty interesting. So was it the younger guy that she had that brought her back to life, or it could have been both? Or as she grew up, she was she felt the need to cross over to the other side and take more of a man like state. And that probably been frowned upon back then for women to have any type of leadership role within speaking or like economy on devising the plan, because what do we know, right? Couldn't we know? But yeah, I'm still brainstorming this married thing. Just give me some time.